Today we're gonna cover Ipywidgets, basically how to build interactive components for your map. And last week we already covered how to create some of the widgets. Today I want to put all the widgets together. So essentially, you can have drop-down lists, you can have track box, you can have all kind of stuff. And how do you put all the things together as a single component? And so later on we can put that one into the map components. And before I get started, any questions? Any issues? I have heard some of you are struggling and you have questions, but you never ask. If you're stuck somewhere, make sure that you email to the group, talk to me, stop by my office. So for this course, essentially we are building Python packages. So you need to have the Python background, Python basics, and then how to put all the things together, how to publish, that's it. So we don't really require any like super groundbreaking stuff from you. It's more like how do you figure out the workflow, how to publish, how to add things, components to it. So anytime you are struggling, talk to me. Unless you know how to figure things out by yourself, okay? And so I would recommend, if you are not here, if you miss any lectures, rewatch lectures. At least if you can follow the lectures and then just make things work, that's fine. I'm not really asking you to do anything like complicated to your package. And also use the online resources, use ChatGPT to your advantage. Just copy any code that you develop. If you run into any issues, paste the code into ChatGPT. It will explain to you what the code is doing. Okay, you can copy the code from my repo. You can copy any stuff from the internet, just paste. It will most likely explain pretty well to you. And you can also ask it to do things for you, but make sure you understand what that is, the code block is doing, and how to modify it to integrate into your package. I think that's very, very important. So, because so far we cover most of the basic stuff, how to use the IDE, how to run the code, how to create a notebook, how to run the notebook. Pretty much that's it. That's what I'm using every day, okay? So once you have the basic, then you should be able to build a component. You just need to, basically it's all the same procedure. So again, I don't want this course to be very frustrating. It should be pretty easy and straightforward. Again, if you're stuck, if you don't understand, talk with your classmate, ask ChatGPT, Google, email me, email to the group, and stop by my office. I'm here to help, okay? And make sure you utilize the resources. Don't like keep all the stuff to yourself if you are not feeling comfortable of doing that. Talk to me, okay? Questions? If not, so this today I think will be brief, and hopefully you'll be introducing something new that you can integrate in your package. So at the end of the day, you are developing something that you want other people to use, and make sure that you go above and beyond, try to reduce the barriers, try to lower the barriers so that other people can use your stuff, okay? And if you can have interactive graphical user interface, that's perfect. Otherwise, people need to write code. So, and in the future, there will be a lot of no more packages coming up. They basically so-called no coding. You don't need to write any code. You can still like doing stuff. So we're going to build on top of what we have last time. And let me take a look at here. Let me pull the repo. Okay, and so today I'm going to use Jupyter Lab, because Visual Studio Code, it displays the widget like very, very long, like white color background. I showed you last time, so it doesn't look good. I'm going to just use Jupyter Lab. It's probably better looking. And so here, and where is it? No documentation examples. So I'm going to work from the examples within here. You're welcome to download the notebook for my repo. I'm going to show you step by step how to construct those widgets and then how to put all things together. Then you can add that one to the map. So conda activate GOS and then Jupyter Lab. So open your Jupyter Lab if you want to follow along. Otherwise, I would recommend that you just download the notebook so they can run through. It will be under the GitHub repo. So GOS demo GOSdemo.gshub.org, and on the left side here, examples, Ipywidgets box. Box basically how you put things together. So if you see a screenshot here, this is what we're going to build today. You can download this notebook to your computer and then just follow through. Otherwise, you might not have time to type all the source code. So just download the notebook and click download. Then just open Jupyter Lab. So here, I'm going to open it. Again, Ipywidget is very powerful. It's very has a lot of functionality. So if you know how to use it, you can do a lot of cool stuff. Think about here, anything that you display on the browser, at the end of the day, is some kind of JavaScript and HTML. So this is so-called the front end. The front end basically what's displayed on the browser. And this back end, basically we can run Python code, but you need to synchronize that. So if you see the image in here, this is basically just HTML. If you double click, you see this is HTML. But if you want to do something interactive, so whatever you do, for example, click a button, you want to execute something, and then you can return the result back to the front end. So this is so-called front end and back end. It's kind of complicated, but it's actually relatively easy to use. You don't need to know JavaScript. You just need to know Python, and then you can do a lot of interactive stuff. Have you downloaded the notebook? Yes? Okay, now let's walk through that. So usually, you can remove the first code block. We don't use Gmap here. So the first step usually is just import Ipywidget. The convention will be to import Ipywidget as widget so that you have a shorter name. And here we also define a width and the padding. So the padding you can change it if you want. So upper right and then bottom left. So basically the if you see, just keep it as it is. I can show you how to change it later. So the padding basically, when you have all the components, you want to have some padding on the border, around the borders. So the reason we have that is on the left side here. If you see this one, this is just an image. But if you change to 0, basically you will have it will to the left. So you right around the border. It doesn't look good. So that's why we have this one. But we can change it later. For now, just think about here. We are trying to create some components that have the same width, so that is horizontal, right? Basically, you have horizontal all the components, and then put them together. You can have a kind of widget, something like that. So the first one we're going to use here is called widget.toggle button. You just execute it, and let's see what. Oops. Run this one. And you see the button. All right. So this is the button that if you click it, it's going to be highlighted, and you can change it. See that? So this is basically when you select this button, you want to execute something, show something. It shows you how this button is executed. So then you can retrieve the value, right? So right now it's not selected, right? You see the toolbar. This is the toolbar button. So eventually, what we want is we see something in here. So we will have this component, and we can close it if you don't need it. But this one can show you basically show you all the components. If you uncheck that, you probably you can hide the components. So think about the button that can do something. That's it. And you can add an icon. So this is called toggle button, and then it has a value, it has tooltips, icon, and layout. It's kind of complicated. I don't really like this way they are doing, but this is what you need to specify. So if you don't do that, look at this one. If I remove this one, you see it looks like this. So by default, the toggle button is look like this, very long. So if you just want like very tiny square, then you need to specify the layout. So widget.layout, and then width 28 pixel. So 28 pixel, and also the height is 28 pixel, and padding 4 pixel to the left. You probably only see here is a little bit this one here. So if I change the padding, for example, I go up here, change the padding to 4. So you have 4 components, 0, 0, 0, 0, and then 40. So upper, right, bottom, left. So right now, if I change the left padding to 40 pixels, take a look at this one. It's too much. You see, right now it doesn't show you anything here. So let me change it to 40. Okay, assume this is the button, but you are welcome to change the icon. So if you don't like this icon, you can change it. You can, for example, go to the icon here, and you can look for any icon you like. So it's not fancy, but you get, at least you can get some custom icon. For example, you see they say I want a camera. Okay, so you want to have a button on your map that when people click the camera, you can create a screenshot, or you can download some maps or whatever, right? So here all you need, just look at this one and then remember the name, right? So the name is like camera. So this is basically the name of that you need to use. And if you come back to here, just change the icon. So the name need to be exactly from one of those. And now if I execute this one, see that? You have a button, right? You have this icon in here. And this is what you can create this one. And so if you want to add this one to a map, you can do it pretty easily. Or you can just use Ipyleaflet. So for example, I can say import Ipyleaflet. As I mentioned last time, right? You can put Ipy. As I mentioned last time, you can add any component to a map, Ipyleaflet map. So you create a widget, and then widget control, and then add the widget control to the map. Remember? So we can do the same thing here. How do I do that? I say widget equal to widget control. So I can just say widget control, because we already have the widgets. So everything you created using Ipywidget is a widget. So put that widget into the widget control, and then we add the widget control to the map. So I can quickly show you, for example, even to add a button to your map. This is how we do that. So widget control, I will say Ipyleaflet widget control. Okay, and then you just need to pass in the widget. So widget equal to widget, and you can specify the position equal to maybe top right. Widget, it's like, so the widget equals to this toolbar button, local widget. Okay, so now we have the widget control. The next step is you create a map, and then you just add the widget control to map. So you'll be equal to map equal to Ipyleaflet map. Okay, and then m. Now you just have it. This is not good, so I will say center equal to 40 negative 100, zoom level equal to 4. Alright, so look at this one. The next I'm going to just add the widget that we created into the map. So very simple, m.add control, and then just put the control. So take a look at upper right corner. See that? Right, and then you can click. Of course, you need to execute something, so you need to have other components. But this is the general procedure, how you connect the things into Ipyleaflet, and later on you can remove it if you don't like that. But this is essentially what leaf map was created. So similarly, I can create just simply I import leaf map, and then m equal to maybe m2 equal to leaf map dot map. In M2, see that? Alright, it's just building on top of the component. So right now, we're starting from a basic. It looks like this, but you can certainly have something like this. So here, this is one called what's the name of the button? This one is called range or something. What's the name of this? So if you like any icon, just find out the name. I think it's probably called WRENCH. Yeah, range. So here we can come back if you want to change it. I can just WRENCH, right? Run this one again. Now you have the range, and then run this again. Add that. See that? Exactly the same, right? But basically just have more stuff in here. You need to build like step by step. But now at least you have a button that you can click in. Right, I can also click here, right? If I click, it's going to stay there. The toolbars are going to stay there. If I unclick, if I move my mouse out, it's going to hide, right? So in this way, you save some space, like this, right? Same stuff here. Right now it doesn't do anything because we don't have any action yet. But this is the general procedure, how you add a control, add some widget to the map so that it becomes interactive. Questions? Not so difficult, right? So just figure out the procedure. Any widget, it doesn't have to be a toolbar, you can pretty much add anything. So I will show you later how you can add others. Right, once you have that, you can, depends on your whether it's clicked or not. If it's selected, it's going to be true. If it's unselected, so here, if I unselect it, now I come back to run this one again, it should be false. So every widget has a state. The state tells you what the user selected, right? You can have select what value, select from drop down list, or whatever you want to do, okay? And you can have another button. So here we have this one, like a cross, and you can change the button style. So the button style, you can have primary. I think you can also have red color. If you don't remember, it's just Ipywidget style. Let me see here. A button style, okay. BUTT1. Here, right, you have a couple of those styles in here. It can be primary, success, info, warning, danger, right? So this is the danger. This is the cut. You can also do custom color, right? It's actually pretty flexible. You can style whatever you want. Essentially, it's just JavaScript and HTML, so you can do a lot of customization. And let's try out a couple of those, right? So if you want a primary, a success, right? So the primary, I think, is bright blue color, right? Like this. I can change it to success. Run this one again. You see, it's green color. I can change it to info. Okay, it's what color it is? It's kind of a cyan color, something like that. And warning. All right, orange color, and the last one probably is like red color. So this is essentially like you design some interface, allow users to customize the widget. And let me change it to primary. All right, blue color. The next one, this one is also very useful. It's called horizontal box or vertical box. Essentially, you can put all the things together. So look at this one here. Take a look at it. So H box means horizontal box, and then within there you have a list. You just put a list in. This means that okay, we want to put a close button, also the toolbar button horizontally. You can also put vertically. You can change the H to V. See what it looks like. So this is very easy to customize. You can do whatever you want. So I'm going to change it to maybe horizontal box, right? And you can add as many as you like. I can add another one here. I can add another close button. So you can have a multiple. Actually, you can have multiple in there. So like, but usually you want to add different buttons. But I'm just showing you that you can add exactly just what like in here. You can have a bunch of buttons horizontally. Depends on how many rows, how many columns you want. You can do that pretty easily. So this is how you can create a widget. And of course, this is if it is the same button, it's linked. So think about here, if I click this one, the other one will also be selected. See that? Because they're linked, they're basically the same button. So Ipywidget, you can display the button in multiple locations, but they're always linked together. So if you click on that button, the other button will also be clicked. Make sense? So I can show you maybe here, run this one, and if you create another code block, I can display this button again. Right, you have two instances, but if you click, see that? Can you see the color changes? They are all linked together. So this is how you create the horizontal box or vertical box. And next one, oh, also there, there are two ways. You can just create a horizontal box and then just put all the items in, or you can create an empty one and then just set the chosen. So the chosen basically, this makes it really flexible. So if you're designing an interface, when the user click on a button, you show this. When the user click the other button, you show something else. So you can change the widget dynamically. In that way, you don't have to recreate. So take a look at this one. I will say, so here, right, this is right now, this box. I create an empty box, and then I set the chosen as a list. And then you display it, it's going to show you. But if I create another one, see here, oops. Just going to show you here, I can say B box, box dot chosen. So if you want to change the widget dynamically, so let's say for example you have two buttons in here. Later when the user clicks something, you want to reduce the number of buttons. So here you just need to change the chosen. So I will say maybe chosen equal to 2 bar button. So you only keep one. So pay attention. If I execute this one, this button here will be reduced. So run. See that? So you can change the elements dynamically. So if I run again, maybe this time, if you put it into empty, then you'll be empty. So if there's an empty list, if I run this one, see, it's gone. So you can change things dynamically. If I revert it back, right, I add the button, right, and then I add it again. Oops, maybe close button, and then 2 bar button. Okay, see, so this is very flexible. Everything is linked together, so you can change things dynamically. And this is why Ipywidgets is so powerful, because you can add a component, you can add some widgets, you can add a drop down list, you can add a button, and things can change dynamically, just like what you are showing here. So let me quickly show you this one, right? I have a bunch of buttons. So when you click a button, it can show you another one, and then you can change this dynamically. Right. And I can also maybe, I'm not sure what's this one, split panel map, right? And this, oh, the Ipy leaflet has a problem with this one. But anyway, so this is how you can create a box of widgets. So next one, checkboxes. Again, widgets dot checkbox. If you want to see the complete list, you just type widget dot and then just hit tab. Look at this one here. All right, there. Anything start with uppercase, there's some kind of widget. So you can, for example, box, button, checkbox, color picker, combo, controller, day picker, datetime, float, right? There are lots of widgets, and that's what we covered last time, right? So for this lecture, we're just going to use some of the common ones: checkboxes, drop-down list, button, slider, something like that. So this one here, right? Widget checkbox, and then you just parentheses. So all of these are actually a class. So if you remember, right, all the classes will start with uppercase, basically title case, just like your map, right? Your map class. So this is called checkbox, and then within there, you just press Shift tab. You're able to see the documentation. It doesn't really show you anything, but at least like value, description, and whether you want to indent or not. Let's see the differences, right? So the checkbox can be a description. You can whatever description you like, no indent, and we're gonna use the same padding and the width. So if you take a look at this, right, this is a checkbox. So I say checkbox, click me. All right, so you just change the description to whatever you like, and once you have that, you can always get the value. If I type up the checkbox, right, or dot value, so right now it's true. If I uncheck that, run this one again, it should be false. So again, every widget, every Ipywidget has an attribute called value, and that value is the the thing that you can pass back to your program. So if the user click this one or the user select something, you will know. And just like you are creating a form or Google form or something like that, right? When you fill out the content and then it's going to populate under the hood, it's going to it's going to create an Excel file and then have all the rows. So exactly like this, but it's interactive, so you can change it at any time. If you don't do the indent, so like indent equal to true by default, you see, it's indent to the right. It's too much. So usually I will just turn off the indentation rather than so you can change it back, right? So now it's to the left, and on the left here, this is where the padding actually works. So if I don't use the padding, if I remove this one, it's a little bit more to the left, so basically right on the border. Sometimes you want to have some pixels on the left side. Check boxes, and next one, drop down list. So here, right, widget drop down, and then the options. How many options you want to provide to the user? By default, do you want to select a value? If you select to none, that means right now it's not selected, right? Option 1, option 2. So it's very common. So if you go online, right, sometimes you need to fill out your state. Right, I can select Tennessee, Alabama, for example, right? Or what else? Hawaii. Right? You can, and I can change the description to state. So in this way, you can provide something. So let's say you create a map, and you want to, for example, create a drop-down list, allow the user to select, and then you zoom to map to that state. Right? It's like very common, so you certainly can do. And value, you can comment it out here. By default, if you don't provide a value, you will use the first value from your options, right? So this why is by default select Tennessee. If you don't want that by default select anything, just set the value to none. It will look like this. But certainly you can change it to whatever you like. I can have value equal to Hawaii, right? Make sense? By default, you will select Hawaii. So it's up to you what you want to select. But make sure that the value actually exists. If it doesn't, it will throw any error. So if you like something like this, see, invalid selection, value not found. So make sure that the value you provide is in there, or it can be none. None means it's not selected by default. Okay. So this is the drop down list. We can also do in slider. So in slider here, right? I select this one. You can move. The value being changed interactively. You can specify a minimum, a maximum, and I believe you can also have a step value. Yeah, here, right? Value, minimum, maximum, and also the step. Step is like how many, the increment, how much you want to have. By default, it's just one, right? So you can move your cursor, right? But if you want a large one, I can say, for example, step equal to 10. So every time it's just going to increase 10. I can have the 0 for my starting from 0 and then increase 10. So take a look when you move it, 0 all the way to 100, right? So pretty flexible. And there are a couple more parameters here. Readout means that you want to print out the value. So if you don't want, like, press equal to, readout equal to false, then it will not show the value. So take a look here. You can scroll, but on the right there's no value. So if you want to see the value, make sure that you set the value readout to true, right? Or here true. And there's another parameter here called continuous update. Continuous update means because when you're dragging the slider, continuous may update when you move your slider, you will change the value. But if that means you are continuously updating the value. If you set it to false, it will only display the value when you release your mouse, release the slider. So let's try this one. So now I change to false. And look at this. Wait. Oh, it's not supposed to be. So that means that value doesn't really have any I think it should not change the value. So basically, sometimes you can do you can drag it very fast, but you only update it when you finish it. Right? Just like when you are dragging your map, paint the map around, right? You only update it when you release it. So, and then the widget, also the style. If you don't have this one, we can take a look at what it looks like. So like this. And the initial, right, description width. See that? It's basically more like remove the space at the beginning. So if I comment it out, it will look like this. You have some empty space on the left. So widget width initial basically means like you don't have any empty space to the left. So this one is the ink slider, and then of course floating slider. If you want, you can display it. So floating slider, right? And I think it's every time by 0.2, right? It looks like by 0.2, but you can change it. So I can do step equal to 0.5. And then each time you're going to increase by 0.5. Floating slider, read out, continuous. So pretty much they're very similar. Just look at example and then customize, make some changes, see what it looks like. You can, if you know JavaScript, you can actually customize it. So just look at the style. So there are all kinds of things you can make changes. But we're just using the default one, and also the color picker, right? So widget.color picker, and yeah, this one, the documentation is really bad. It doesn't really show you anything. The reason for that, they don't have the doc string in their source code. If they have the doc string, then you have this, right? So for the color picker, concise equal to false. Description like is on the left side here, and the value, default value, the style, the readout. So this is basically what it looks like this. If you want to allow your user to choose a color, and then for example, you have a you want to display a swap file, right? And then you want the user to be able to change the color of the swap file. This is something you can do. So you can change the color, and then if you hover your mouse out, it's going to give you this hex color code. So 6 digits, basically RGB, right? What's the hex code for white color? White color? Are you sure? Black color. Black color is 0000. White color is what? FF. Okay, so 255. FF like in the hex code is 255. So, and we black color on the left side here, it should be 000. Right? How about white? Red color. Right? FF 000, right? Only red, right? So if this blue color, I'm not sure you can pick perfect blue here, but blue will be 0000FF, right? So if it's something like, it's not going to be perfect, but I can certainly change it here. So I can 0000FF. See how it's changing. So I can also FF0000. You see, it's updated interactively. So this is how you can design something, allow the user to change. How about yellow color? Anyone? What's the hex code for yellow color? So yellow is a mix of what colors? You can type yellow if you want, like YELOW. I think it's to update. Okay, doesn't work. Then you have to. So red, yellow color will be red and green, right? So it'll be FF00. Yeah. So those are some of the common colors you can do. You can, if you use color frequently, you will know exactly what's the hex color code. So white, black, yellow, green, blue, something like that. Those are very common to use. So this is something you can do here. Allow the user to select. you can, so the concise equal to false, that means it's like a full one. But if you set to true, let's see what it looks like. It looks like this. Right now it's more concise. It doesn't show you the hex code. It will just show you the color. But it doesn't matter. The value can be grabbed from the, so right now, for example, I select this one, I can get the value. See here. So if I change it, see, so you can update it in pretty much real time. Whatever the user select, you can grab the value and then pass it into the program to do something. Let's say you create a program, allow the user to display the shape file and a line, right? You can display the line as red color, blue color, whatever. You can have an option, allow the user to select, and then you will customize in a way that you want the user want you to do it, right? So this makes it really interactive. And this is color. Of course, you can have text. You can enter anything. Have a value. So you can have a default value. You can have a description, placeholder. Placeholder basically means if I remove all the text, user will see something like in gray color. Ask you to enter something. For example, enter number, enter the city name, enter whatever you like. So, and then the layout is pretty much the same. You can also have text area. Text area means that you can have multi-line. So you can have something in here. Okay, just like when you're doing a submission on Canvas, right? Paste your URL, paste your paragraph. Okay, whatever. You can create something like this. And then later on, you can behind the scene grab the thing that user put, and then you can do something, right? So here I can say, enter your URL, okay? And then I can just type, right? You can also have a default value. So here, by default, I can say value equal to https google.com, right? Oops, I need to have comma. But if we have something in here, the placeholder won't show up unless the user remove this one, right? If I removed it, now you show the placeholder, and you have the drop down list here. You can drop it to whatever area you like. Text area, and last one, toggle buttons, right? You can have a couple buttons all together, right? User can execute something, they can reset, they can close. So the toggle button, you have a value, you have an option. You can also have a tooltip. Tooltip means when I hover my mouse, you see the tooltip. Of course, you can write it very long, like apply the algorithm, something like this. So to make it more meaningful, like when user hover your mouse, you will still gonna show up a more detailed description, but you don't want the button description to be too long because it's going to take space. But you can have a tooltip that have more detailed instruction how this one is doing, right? So the value equal to none, that means by default none of these are being selected. So I can, if I select this one here, right, take a look at this. Now I can get the value. So look at this. Buttons dot value, because it's none of these are being selected. I click apply. See, apply. I click reset. Reset. Close. So if you want a button to be selected by default, then you can do this way. So for example, you can select design something, allow the user to select a couple base map. So by default, it's going to show you the OpenStreetMap, and the user can click another button to show Google Map or something else, right? So you can design a couple buttons, allow user to do something. If you want something default, it will be like this, right? And say apply. So you're going to dark, and like I said, you can change the button style, right? Can be info, can be success, can be success. So you can basically change the color, or warning, right? Or danger, just like what we covered earlier, and or primary. If you don't do anything, it will be just, I think, just gray color like this. So it's not super fancy, but if you want to customize it, you can. Alright, so those are pretty much some of the common ones that you might use. Again, if you want, you just go to Ipywidget website, and look at the widget list. So this one gives you an entire list of all the widgets. So numerical widget, boolean widget, selection, string, button, output. There are some even like play animation controller, or have a button that allows user to upload a file. So all you need pretty much just look at the source code, copy, and then just modify it, and then you can use it in your program. Right, radio, but even have radio button here. You can also have a select, right, like this. So if you want the user to select what operating system, range, toggle button, string, text area, or you can have a combo, right, like combo box, label, HTML, images, play, right? Pretty cool. You see, this is only like a couple lines of code. I can pause, I can stop, I can reset. Date picker, for example, you can select allow something, for example, have an option allows the user to select like what's the birthday, right? You probably have this all on the internet when you're trying to fill out something. It's going to have something like this, allow you to select color picker, file upload, right? You click here, just one line of code. You can have a button allow the user to upload a file, for example, to your server, and then you can do the data processing. Think about here, right? You are designing a website, allow user to plot their GPS checkpoints. They have a CSV, have the longitude column, latitude column, and then just upload the CSV to your server, and then you can display all the points, right? So those are some of the simple applications you can do if you want. And box, edge box, horizontal box, vertical box, grid box. So the Ipyleaflet, not Ipyleaflet, it was leaflet. This one is actually called grid box. So you can have a grid of boxes that you can fill in, so that you can have how many lines, how many rows, how many columns you want, right? Tabs, you can design something like this. So there are definitely a lot of options allow you to do it, and you're welcome to see what's your user cases, what option do you want to have, and then you design the interface. Once you have the individual one, then at the end of the day, you need to put all the things together as a single component, and this is what this one is about. But before we do the last one, I would like to introduce this called output widget. I think this one is the most powerful widget that can pretty much display anything. I'm saying anything pretty much. HTML, images, video, all kinds of stuff. And so what you need is widget.output, and so you can set the style, do the same thing, and then with output, then you can start printing stuff. So this is how you can display images, you can display text, you can display button, you can display even a widget in there. So take a look at this one, right? I create the output widget, and then I clear the content, and then I print out something, say running or whatever. So look at this. You can continue to print stuff in there. So let me show you. I want to output. Oops. So I can clear all the outputs. So look at this. So pay attention to the text above in here. If I cleared it, see that? And anytime you want to do something in there, you can do it like this. I can widget with output, and then I can say print. I can say run this again. Maybe running. Please wait. So pay attention. When I run this one here right now is empty. It's going to print out the text. You see? If I run this one again, what happened? How many lines of code you going to see here? If I run this with output again and print out, how many lines? 2 lines, 3 lines. You can have any. You can run anything you like, so it's going to pop. But if you want to clear it, you can always like output dot clear output. You just clear all of them and just print out. So in that way, it's only 1 line. But you can display also widget in there. So here, assume for example, I have the buttons, right? Earlier we have the buttons. We create the buttons. You can display the buttons within the output widget. So the output widget you can think about is just like something like a container. You can put all kinds of things in there. So here, let me show you how you can do both, right? I can print out this text, and then I can use the display function. So the display function is the one that you can use in Jupyter Notebook. So you don't need to think about just like built-in function. So pay attention here, right? We have these 3 buttons in here. It's called buttons. I can display the button. And take a look. It's not fancy because it's like the length, the total button, the length sometimes is fixed. So the reason for here is because the widget width is very short. So if I remove that, probably it will be better. So right, so you can control exactly how you want to the layout of the widget. So you can have text, you can have also have a bunch of other stuff. I can, if I run this one again, how many lines of buttons you want to see? Oh, because I clear the output. So if I don't clear, run this one again, run this one again. Right, if you want to clear it, then you just output to clear. You always want to have with output, and then within there you within a indentation, you can print out things, you can display a button, you can display all kind of stuff. It doesn't have to be one. I can display another one. I can display the checkbox. See, now you have checkbox. Alright, so it's a super powerful component that can display pretty much anything. I'm just saying anything, any widget, date picker, color, whatever you want to put in here. And this is what I will show you later, but I think it's enough. So lastly, how do we put all the things all together, right? So here we're going to have a vertical box, and then with the vertical box we can specify the children. Again, you can create a virtual a box, and then you can have a list. You can put everything in there, or you can just create an empty vertical box, and then you put all the things all together. So the children means you're going to the vertical box. Every item is going to be one row. So let's just take a look at what it looks like. Oh, it doesn't look good because we added too many of those in here. So maybe let's remove it and then run this one again. Okay, it's better now. So see that we have the 2 buttons on at the top, right? So widget, also vertical box and horizontal box, you can nest it inside. So think about here, the vertical box is empty, and then within the list you can have all kind of items. So the first row is a horizontal box. So a vertical box basically you have multiple rows, and then now you have multiple columns, right? By default it's only 1 column, but if you want to have multiple columns, then you have this one here. So horizontal box, and then you have the close button, you have 2 button, essentially just these 2 in here. And then we also add the track box, right? So the track box here, second line, and then the in slider here, the floating slider, and then the drop box, a drop down list, and then the text, the color, because the color we set to like compact, so it looks like this. If you want, you can go back to change the color. So I can change it to concise equal to false, and then if you want it, now if you come back, right, so now you have this is not concise, and on the right here you see it's like a little bit to the right. The reason for that is because the button, so you can change it if you want. But color, text box, drop down list, and you can have button, you can rewind something, right? So this is how you can create this component. So basically it's like combination of all the widgets. And once you have that, how to add this one to the map? The same procedure, right? Widget, we already have the widget, then we create the widget control, and then we put the widget control on the map. So just the same like what we did earlier. So you'll be what's that, m equal to control, the name doesn't matter. Okay, you'll be ipy leaflet dot widget control. Okay, again, so now the widget equal to, okay, so it's this one here, so this is the total one, so it's called toolbar widget. So toolbar widget, and then you can specify the position equal to maybe top right. Okay, pretty much that's it. So now we have this widget control. We can create a map equal to ipleaflet dot map, and we can specify the center equal to 40 negative 100, and then the zoom level equal to 4. Display the map. Okay, last step is to add the widget to the map. So it'll be m dot add control, and then just type control. So see on the right, boom. Now you have all the components in here, right? So I can select this, I can do that, I can add a base map, I can change the slider, something like that. So if you really want to like do it this way, this is what you can do. And maybe let me quickly show you like how do I really make change together. So when the user, for example, select something in here, it can change the map, right? That would be pretty cool. That makes it really interactive. So I can just add one more line of code. You can do some cool stuff. So for example, in slider, assume that when I change this one, it will change the zoom level of the map, right? That would be cool. So user don't have to zoom in and zoom out. So how do we actually do that? Of course, we need to update the slider, because this is only like zoom level only usually from 1 to I think 24 something. So here we can come back maybe to the in slider. Let's change it a little bit. So I would maybe just minimum 1, maximum 24, and then step 1. So let's update this one, and then now so it's from 1 to, and I can also change it. So I can say zoom level, or maybe just zoom, whatever. Okay, so now you see zoom level 1 to 24. So I can set the default label value equal to maybe 4. Okay, something like this. Right, so by default the zoom level is 4. I can change it. Then I want the map to be updated, right? Can we do that? All right, so now we have the in slider. Let's come back to this one here again. Run this one, and then again run the map, create a map, add the control. Oh, where's the control? What am I missing? M dot add control. Okay. By default, it should be, the value should be 4. So like this. Okay. So right now it doesn't really do anything yet, because we haven't linked the actions. Because when I change the slider, now the slider, the value will always be changed. So if I get, for example, the in slider dot value, right? So think about here. Right now it's 1. If I change it, so take a look at this. I change it on the map, right? And if I grab the value again, it's going to be 15. So they're linked all together. So next, this is where the magic happens. How do you actually link this one with the map? For example, how do you link all together so that when you change the zoom level, the map will also be changed? You only need one line of code. So there's a shortcut function called widget.jslink. JSLink means you can link the attribute of 2 components and then select this link all together. So think about here. This is the map, right? I can change the map zoom level like this. M.zoom equal to maybe 6. So look at the map. Right now the zoom level is 4, right? If I change it, see that? I can change it to maybe to 2. Change it to 3. So the map, basically the map has an attribute called zoom. But our in slider also has an attribute called value. So if you can link those 2 together, so I change the zoom level, I change the value of the zoom, the in slider. If I zoom into the map, you can also update. So, and this is what you need. So within the JS link, you have 2 parentheses. Okay, the 2 parentheses you want to link. So the first one will be the map M. And the M has an attribute called zoom. Okay. And the second one will be the in slider. Oops. And the ink slider has a value called, has an attribute called value. So pay attention to this one. See if it works or not. So you just run this one. Take a look. And now you see the zoom level is 3, right? It doesn't change. So pay attention. The scroll bar doesn't work, but see that? Is it linked together now? Right? How cool is that? So this is how you make your stuff interactive. So if I change it, see here, it's also being updated automatically. So if I move it to anywhere, I zoom it. Right. So just one line of code. Now your component, your widget, and your map right now acts all together. If you really want, I can maybe scroll scroll view zoom equal to true, so that it's interactive, right? So then I can zoom in and zoom out. But of course you need to re-add the stuff. So I'm going to add the widget control, and then add the widget control to the map, and then you link the map with this one, right? So again, look at this one, right? And I can zoom in here. I can zoom in on the map. You see the slider on the right? So you can change it either way. If you change the map, it's going to update the slider value. If you change the slider value, it's going to update the map zoom level. So this is how you make really things make interactive. So the function is actually very, very powerful. So you can do whatever you want to do. I can also here take a look at this one. So for example, when I change my map, I can get the center, and I can also display the center at the text box, for example, right? The same idea. So you can always, for example, here I can map dot center, right? Because you can always get the value. You can always get the value of the map, right? The center, right? If I move the center out somewhere, if I run this one again, it's going to show you the new center. So here I have a text box, right? I can, when the user move the map, I can update the center and then display it on the map on this widget. So it's the same idea. I can add another one here. It will be called what's the name of the text box? It's just called text. So text dot value. So let's show it here. Widget dot js link. Oops, not the link. So js link, and then so again 2 parentheses. The first one and the second one. So same thing here. You'll be m, and then parentheses single quotes. So the m dot center. So basically the object, the attribute, the object, the attribute. So the map the center. So the next one will be the text, and then you'll be dot value. So basically updating the value of the text box. So let's run this one. I hope it works. See that? All right. Boom. Of course, it's like too long. It's pretty long. So you need to do some changes. So next time on Thursday, I'm going to show you how you can update the value. So for example, right now this is the easiest way to link. But if the format is not something you like, you can certainly customize it to make it better. So you can have a function. So all the map component. So basically, the map you're showing here is also an Ipywidget. So Ipyleaf map builds on top of Ipywidget. So everything here you see is called Ipyleaf map is also an Ipywidget basically, right? So if you really want, you can make changes. You can create multiple. So let me show you here, right? We have one map. You can do it like this. I can create a output widget, another output widget, maybe equal to widget dot output, right? So here, this is the output widget. I can put multiple maps within there if you want. So you can have a horizontal box, and then you can have 2 maps inside if you want. So okay, so width out, and then you can display M. Right, we are displaying a map. Oh, we need to print out this one, right? So a map here, I can display another one. So if I run this one again, you see, you have two maps, exactly the same, and they are all linked together. You can also have two maps side by side. So if you want, you can have a horizontal box, and then you have two children. So you have two maps side by side. Of course, right now it's the same map. So I can do it like this. I can have a box equal to widget dot horizontal box. So it'll be H box, right, like this. And then I can say box dot children equal to, it'll be like this. So you can put as many as you like. So I can have one, for example, M, another M. So you can, if you have multiple maps, you can create something like this, and then just display the box. See, now I have two maps side by side. You can have multiple rows, multiple columns if you want, right? Of course, if you here, you can, for example, if you click the close button, you want to close everything, you can do that as well. So let me show you like how you can actually, we'll probably cover that more next time, but if you really want, I can show you here this button, right? So this is the toggle button, is basically this close button at the very beginning. Close button. So you can actually add a function to the close button. So when I close it, when I click the button, it's going to close everything. You can remove the control. So here, if you really want, I can do here. It's create a function called df and remove widget. Okay. I think I'll cover next time. We don't have enough time to finish that, but at least right now, you can show, you can create a combination of widget into a composite one, and then so within there you can add the widget into the map, so-called the widget control, and you can also have some actions link between the widget and the map, so that you can change the map, you update the widget, you change the widget, you also update the map. But this is pretty just the basic one that we covered today. And on Thursday, we're gonna have more complicated function. For example, when you select the drop-down list, you can do something. When you click the map, you can do something else, right? So for now, we just do the simple one. It's not sufficient because there are some things that are more complicated that you need to activate a lot of functions. So for example, I click the map, I select Alabama. I want the map to update to Alabama. How do I do that, right? Or if I change the color, they say you change the color, you want to display the map in certain style, you can also do that. If I create a checkbox, for example, you can allow the user to select, for example, base map. I want to provide a bunch of base map, and then when the user select a drop-down list from a map from the drop-down list, it display the base map for that specific one. Certainly you can do that. There are a lot of possibilities, and this is just show you the basic how you make things interactive, so the user don't have to do coding. Questions? No questions? You guys always don't ask questions. Is it too easy or is it too difficult? Or if you stuck somewhere, anything you don't understand?
Some questions don't have simple answers sometimes.
What do you mean some questions don't have?
I just mean like some questions I have probably need a little more attention.
I see, okay. Yeah, I always ask if you are confused with anything, or if you have any idea, or if you need something, let me know. I'm happy to provide more information, okay? And again, you need to practice. This is not by just reading and then watching the lectures, then you will good at it. It's not always not the case. So you need to actually practice, change the combination, change the parameters, and then see how it looks like, and then debugging the code. Okay, so that's what we have today, and I'll see you on Thursday. Okay.